Hi, my name is Sasha. Welcome back to my channel, Sasha Reads, and this is my Vampire Diaries Readathon TBR. So this is a very exciting TBR for me because I've been a huge fan of Vampire Diaries probably since 2009, since when it was released, pretty much. Because I live in Australia, we didn't get the episodes straight away, and I used to stream them like illegally whenever they first came in. Like, I downloaded them straight away so I could watch it. I even named my son Elijah because of Elijah Michelson. So here we are. I'm a big stan. So of course I had to do this readathon. So if you don't know, this readathon is created by Chloe Reads Books. I will link their original video down below so you can watch that and see all the prompts. I think we've got 15 prompts. It is point based. Every prompt completed is like 100 points, and every book you complete, like how many pages you've read for it, like that adds up to, sort of thing. So it's 300 page book and you completed one prompt, it's 400 points. Does that make sense? We've got 15 prompts and they're all based on the characters, which is very exciting. So let's start off with Elena Gilbert, so the main character. Read a book getting a lot of attention. So I'm going to be reading The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This has been making the booktube world rounds. Ashley Poston has really outdone herself with this one, apparently. I really enjoyed The Dead Romantics by this author, so I'm very excited to hop into this one. So this is giving Lake House vibes. So you've got Clementine West. Either she's renting her aunt's apartment or her aunt has died and has left the apartment to Clementine. And now the sun has come out, so I'm all washed out probably. Clementine's living in this apartment that was gifted to her by her aunt, and she comes home one day and there's this random man living here. She's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "I live here." Turns out he's 7 years from the past. I've heard really amazing things from this. Emily over at Books by Emily and Abby from Abby Lisa the Book Lovers both told me to read this book. So that is happening this month. Now, for the Stefan Salvatore prompt, The Good Brother with Hero Hair or The Ripper. Read a book with a dual POV. So I'm going to be reading Heartless by Elsie Silva. This is the second book in the Chestnut Springs series. Read Flawless recently. It was my first 5-star read for the month, so I'm very excited to get to the next book in the series. There is a read along happening. I'll post all those links down below for you. I could not find this at my local Big W, so hopefully I'll be able to grab a copy soon. This is about the older brother Cade, and female main characters from the first book, her best friend, I think it's Willa. And she, I think her and Cade had like a one-night stand in a hot tub, and then a couple months later, he needs a babysitter and she shows up as the babysitter. Age gap, babysitter romance, but I've heard this one is really good, so I'm very excited for it. Next prompt is The Damon Salvatore. So the bad boy we all want. Now, this is to read a book that gets you excited. So you can take excited however you like. So I'm going to be reading King of Wrath by Anna Huang. This is the start to her newest series, The Kings of Sin. This is focusing on Dante and Vivian. Now, this was a recommendation by Jen over at Readathon, so I'm very excited to pick this up. I love Anna Huang's books, and she is such a lovely person. I met her at Rare last year, so I'm very excited to pick this up and fall in love with Dante and Vivian. I believe this is marriage and convenience, or like fake marriage, billionaire romance sort of thing. So I'm also excited to see all the Easter eggs because Dante had a lot to do in Christian Story. So yes. May is also, is it the AAPI month? Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So I have tried to choose a lot of Asian authors that I own. That is what I'm doing. So we have another Jen recommendation. Actually, she actually got this for me for Christmas last year. That's so sweet. But for Bonnie Bennett, prompt, which is the dependable best friend, read a 5-star prediction. I'm going to be picking up Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I have read The Poppy War by this author and I really enjoyed it. This is a completely different genre, but I've heard it's funny, but like it does have a talk about a lot of today's topics and commentary about like Yellowface and such, because I believe we've got 2 authors, one who is Asian and one who is white, and the Asian author dies and the white author finds her manuscript and takes it as her own and publishes it under a non-descriptive Asian last name. So yeah, that's very interesting and I'm very excited to read this. Next prompt was Caroline Forbes, who is one of my favorite characters out of the whole series. I just love her character arc as well. She's like sunshine in a person. I know that's weird. Anyway, so Miss Mystic Falls, read a book with a strong female character. I am going to be reading Strike the Zither by Joan He. This is one I picked up at a op shop a while ago, and I saw the cover and I'm like fell in love, so I had to read it. I think Meredith has read it. I don't know why I think of Meredith when I see this book. It's the year 414 of the Xin dynasty and chaos abounds. A puppet empress is on the throne and the realm has fractured, with 3 warlordesses each hoping to claim the continent for herself. But Zephyr knows it's no contest. Orphaned at a young age, Zephyr took control of her fate by becoming the best strategist in the land. Now she serves under the most honorable lordess, the last one still loyal to the empress. But honor is double-edged in a war where one must betray or be betrayed, and it's up to Zephyr to infiltrate a rival camp when survival hinges on it and there is more than one enemy. Can Zephyr brilliantly overcome her fate? Definitely sounds like strong female character. Very excited for this one. Next prompt is Matt Donovan. So the one human who's always left. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's the only character that never died in this series, or died and stayed dead. Read a book with human main characters. So I'm actually going to be reading The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. This is a BIPOC romance between, I believe it's a bookworm and her favorite author, but they're neighbors and she doesn't actually know who he is. So that's very exciting. I've heard good things about it. We then have the prompt Jeremy Gilbert, or the little brother. So we need to continue a series. So I'll be picking up Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. I've yet to read The Kingdom of Copper, but it is on April's TBR, so hopefully I'll get to it before this one. I don't want to read the back because the ending of City of Brass is very cliffhangery. So I'm excited to read this one and see how it ends the series. Ooh, next prompt is Tyler Lockwood. So one of everyone's least favorite characters, which I can see it. The writers really did do him dirty by the end of that series. This prompt is to read a book with a low rating. Now, I did go into Goodreads. I went onto my to-read list and tried to find one of the lowest average ratings, and unfortunately Hunt and Dark Waters showed up, which is very interesting to see because Katie Robert is usually loved by all. This is on my 24 to read in 24. I know you probably saw this on my January TBR, but let's just pretend you didn't, okay? So this is a pirate fantasy romance. We've got Evelyn, who is a witch, and she stole from her vampire ex. She's running away from that said ex, and she falls into the hands of Bowen, who is vowed to patrol the threshold, the magical sea between realms, protecting the portals to other worlds. Very excited to read this. I have read a novella in this series, and I have met Bowen before, so I'm excited to read his romance. The next prompt is Alaric Saltzman, so our favorite history teacher with a vampire hunter hobby. And the prompt is read a book with a historical element. So I'm going to pick up one of my newest books on my physical TBR, and I'll be reading To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X. Chang. This is probably one of the only books I've pre-ordered recently. There was this whole hoo-ha about one author who was review bombing other authors, mainly authors of colour, being published by the same imprint. So this was one of the authors that got review bombed. So I'm like, joke's on you, I'm gonna go pre-order it. So this is a major new voice in romance fantasy, comes an epic and unforgettable debut novel. So this does have elements of, I believe it's Chinese history. In the author's note, she talks about listening to her grandfather's stories. In my desperation to cling to my grandparents and home, I stumbled across articles of Unit 731, a place that existed in Harbin during World War II, just 20 minutes from where I grew up. I realized these ghost stories that haunted my childhood were never just stories. They were memories rooted in reality. They were a piece of history forgotten by too many. So while to gaze upon wicked gods is fictional, its inspirations were very much real. So very excited to pick this up. Look at that beautiful cover. I cannot get over it. Very excited to read this in May. We then have character Sheriff Forbes, who is Caroline's mom, and does end up have this like really fun friendship with Damon. She is our favorite local cop, and the prompt is read a book with a mystery. So I'm going to be picking up 4 Aunties and a Wedding by Jessie Susanto. This is the sequel to Dale for Aunties. That was a really fun, it was a funny, like a comedy mystery. So I'm excited to pick up the sequel and find out what's happening with Maddie, because the first book was a riot. Alrighty, next one, we've come to the Michelson family. So we're going to read for Niklaus, who is the original hybrid, and read a genre-bending book is the prompt. So I'm finally going to be picking up The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is a romantasy that's definitely taking the whole entire world by storm. It was picked up by a traditional publisher. It's getting these cool hardcover sprayed edges. It's a vampire book. We've got vampires, we've got adopted human daughters, and we've got a sort of Hunger Games trial-esque happening throughout this book. So I'm very excited to see what the hype is about and finally be a part of the majority. Next Michelson prompt is Rebecca Michelson, The Hopeless Romantic. So read a romance book. I am going to be picking up Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead. I have read The Housewife by this author, which is a thriller, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm interested to see how her romance is going to go. So I believe this is a second chance romance. So you've got Lee Stone is a 21st century woman. She kicks butt at her job as a communications director at a women-run electric car company. That's better than Tesla, thank you very much. After work, she is stoner, drinking guys under the table and never letting any of them get too comfortable in her bed. Okay, interesting. And then we've got Ben, who was her boyfriend in grad school, who was one of her 4 major heartbreaks. Wasn't actually cheating, but she could have sworn he was, so she reciprocated in kind. Okay, so now Ben shows up 5 years later working as a policy expert for the most liberal governor in Texas history, just as Lee is trying to get a clean energy bill rolling. Things get complicated and competitive as Lee and Ben are forced to work together. Tension builds just as old sparks reignite, fanning the flames for a romantic dust-up the size of Texas. So this is interesting. Don't know how I'm going to feel about this. I believe I will have a vlog of this out sometime in May, so look out for that. The next prompt is Elijah Michelson, who's always in a suit. So read a book with a beautiful cover. I'm going to be picking up the Full Moon Book Club pick for May, and that's going to be Dragon Fruit by Makia Lucia, and it's a dazzling romantic fantasy inspired by Pacific Island mythology. So that sounds really good. And just look at the cover. How beautiful is that? I mean, of course, that's going to be a book about dragons. It's called Dragon Fruit. I don't know why I thought about... There is a fruit called dragon fruit, right? Idiot. The next prompt is probably one of my other favorite characters of the whole entire series, and that is Catherine Pierce. So, the doppelganger. So we need to read a book that's inspired by or a retelling or reimagining of an original story. So I'm going to be picking up the NB Book Club pick of month, and that is going to be The Death I Gave Him by M.X. Liu. This is a lyrical queer sci-fi retelling of Shakespeare's Hamlet as a locked room thriller. That sounds interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to get an audiobook of it. One of my libraries have it on Libby, so I'm very excited to pick that up. Last prompt is Enzo St. John, an unexpected favorite. So read a second chance author. I've got two that comes to mind. I'm not excited to read either of them, but gotta do it for the readathon. First one is Spy X Family Volume 2, because I gave the first one 3 stars. It did not live up to the hype for me, but it's a manga, so it's going to be a quick and easy read, so that's why I'm adding it. Or I'm gonna pick up Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings, which is the second book, Magnolia Park series. I DNF'd first Magnolia Parks, so I don't know if I really want to read Daisy Hates, but Daisy seemed like an interesting character from what I read of her in the first book. So who knows? Not me. Okay, so that looks like all of the prompts for this Vampire Diaries readathon. Let me know down below, are you going to be participating in it at all? And who is your favorite Vampire Diaries character? Obviously mine is Elijah, and then we've got Catherine, and then we've got Caroline. I love those 3 so much. If you did get to the end of this video, pop a vampire emoji in the comments below, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Want to see more videos by me? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I've also got Goodreads, Instagram, and Storygraph linked in the description box down below if you want to be my friend. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Bye.